Hey y'all, Little Drummer Boy here, and on today's edition of Trucker Tales, I want to tell you about it's entitled Brooklyn Bridge, and this is about last year I was doing New England turnarounds, and um, I had never been out on Long Island. Only time I've been on Long Island is flying in and out of JFK airports on mission trips, because JFK Airport is in Queens on Long Island. So anyway, I never driven all the way through New York City to Long Island, to Connecticut tons of times, but never over to Long Island. Anyway, so I'm delivering a load of textiles to Eastern Long Island, way out on the end of Long Island, and so that morning, well, I'll just say I spent three. It's the most time I ever spent in traffic in one day. I spent 3 hours in traffic going through Staten Island, Brooklyn, and Queens, and then 3 hours in traffic coming back through Queens, Brooklyn, and Staten Island. It was so 6 hours of my 11-hour day, legal 11-hour day, was gone in New York traffic. And kudos to you truck drivers who drive in New York City, either over the road or you local guys that have to deal with it every day. Um, you drive through New York City. If you don't hit anything or get hit or feel like or nobody hits you, you feel like, whew, thank you, Lord. Because, I mean, you try to leave a little space where you can stop, and there'll be like 5 cars from both sides trying to cram in that spot in front of you. And, I mean, some of them dang near take your bumper off. It's bad enough everywhere else with people cutting you off, and you can hardly leave a safe following distance. But in New York, I mean, it's impossible to leave a safe following distance. It's just, if there's a hole, they'll fill it, just like a dentist. And so anyway, I see this. There's like a road that goes, a highway that goes to Long Island. Oh, well, first of all, let me tell you about this. Was really cool. That morning, I crossed the Verrazano Narrows Bridge from Staten Island over to Brooklyn. And it's named for Giovanni Verrazzano in English, who was an Italian explorer who explored the coast of America from Cape Fear, North Carolina, up to at least as far as present day New York City in 1523 and 24. He explored up the East Coast from North Carolina to New York, and maybe further, but I'm not sure. I know he went as far as New York because the Verrazano Narrows is named after him. And because the Verrazano Narrows is the mouth of New York Harbor, which is one of I think maybe the largest natural harbor in the world. That's why New York City is there. And anyway, so you have Staten Island on one side, Brooklyn on the other. And they've got a bridge across, a big suspension bridge, across the mouth of New York Harbor, Verrazano Narrows Bridge. Excuse me. I just had a coffee and it's not agreeing with me. Cappuccino. But anyway, beautiful morning, and it's a really high bridge so the ships can go under. But they just barely clear it because I'm going over it, and I see it's like an island underneath me, but it's moving. And I look down, and it's a Mediterranean Shipping Company, MSC. I used to haul a lot of their containers. It's a Mediterranean Shipping Company ship selling out to sea from New York. And I mean, it's just barely clearing the bridge. But anyway, what a flippin' view. To the right and the south, you've got the Atlantic Ocean, blue water as far as you can see from that bridge. To the left and the north, you've got Statue of Liberty, Lower Manhattan, and just water, ships and boats everywhere. It's just flipping gorgeous. It's hard to keep your eyes on the road there. And but you have to, because you don't want to go off that bridge. You wouldn't feel it once you hit, probably, but you still don't want to go off that bridge. Anyway, so get over to Brooklyn, go through the Brooklyn Navy Yard, and I see all the Hasidic Jews up on the bridges with their long beards and their little hats and stuff. It was really cool. I'd never been in Brooklyn before, and so I see this highway. I forget which highway it was, but it goes out to Long Island Expressway, which I need to take to the eastern end of Long Island to do my delivery. And it says no trucks, low clearance. Now you got to keep in mind, in New England, low clearances are a problem for truckers because these cities, including New York City, were all built in the 1600s. They're 400 years old, 400 years old, and they are not made for trucks, especially 53-foot trailers. And the bridges, a lot of the bridges are old too, and they're not made for 13-foot 6-inch trucks, trailers. And New York is really bad to have. They'll have an arched bridge, and trucks will hit. The low clearance will be on the side. If the trucks aren't in the middle lanes, the truck will hit on the arches on the outside. So you got to be really heads up in New York and New England in general. I had to back out of several situations where I came upon a low bridge. And then, there was a bridge in Jersey City, which I cleared. Somebody told me, a local driver said, you can clear it. It's 13.6, but you can clear it. I mean, I went under that bridge with my door open and my head hanging out, making sure I wasn't going to hit. And another driver told me later, they said, yeah, you were loaded, and that's why you didn't hit. They said, you better not go back out that way, because if you're not loaded, you won't be weighted down, and you'll probably hit. And I thought, yeah, that's a good point. Being unloaded, you're going to probably be a little higher on the shocks than you would be loaded. But anyway, so but I see local trucks going on this highway that says low clearance, no trucks. So I'm like, well, if the local trucks can do it, why can't I? We're the same height. It doesn't matter about local over the road for that. So anyway, I get up there, and I'm tooling along, and oh my gosh, the scenery over here. You got the East River. First of all, you got Lady Liberty over here on Liberty Island in New York Harbor, and then the Hudson River over on the west side is huge. It's like a mile across. Well, the East River is not that big. It's like the Catawba River where I'm from, except deeper. The East River is maybe a half a mile, quarter mile even. It's probably maybe even a quarter mile across. And so, you're going down this highway, and boom, Lower Manhattan is like right there across the river from you. Just a stone's throw, Freedom Tower, all the big skyscrapers in Lower Manhattan. And then I'm tooling along, and next thing oh my gosh, Brooklyn Bridge. Here is the Brooklyn Bridge right in front of me. I'm getting ready to go under it, because the highways go under it on the side. It goes over the East River, but then on the side, the highways go under it. So, and of course, you can't drive trucks on it. It was built in 1884. I'm not even sure if it's open to cars anymore. I see a lot of pictures of people walking on it. But anyway, so I'm just looking at and I ain't lying, y'all, I was taking pictures. I got my phone out. I'm like, Brooklyn Bridge, Lower Manhattan. I'm snapping pictures like a photographer, like paparazzi. And all of a sudden, this local driver, thank God for him, thank God for Good Samaritans, this local driver behind me in a W900 Kenworth, I can still remember it, he honks his air horn, bonk, bonk, and flashes his headlights for me to get in front of him. And I look up, and to this day, I don't know what this thing is. It's not even a bridge, but of all places to have a low clearance, right there at Lower Manhattan and the Brooklyn Bridge. Everybody's distracted. A trucker like me, never been through there before. You're just kind of in awe, of the thousands of skyscrapers and the Brooklyn Bridge. Never seen it before. And right there at the Brooklyn Bridge, where you're so distracted by all of this, there's like an overhang on the right lane. It's not even a bridge. It's some kind of concrete overhang. And he let me in just before I hit that overhang that was a low clearance. And you could see chunks of concrete missing out of it where other trucks had hit it. And I thought, man, what a stupid place to have a low clearance. Right by the Brooklyn Bridge and Lower Manhattan, where truckers that aren't from there are not paying attention, to be honest. And had no problem going under the Brooklyn Bridge. It's very high because, well, not very high by bridge standards, but it's way higher than a truck because, boats go under it in the river. So anyway, but that was my Brooklyn Bridge tale, and I came back that same way and had a good trip. Really, once I got out of Brooklyn and Queens, the Long Island Expressway was pretty much boring. You see more water on I-95 in Connecticut, which you can look across I-95 in Connecticut at places like Stamford and Milford, where George Bush is from originally, and Bush 41, and also at Where's Yale? New Haven, where Yale's from. That's beautiful water, a lot of water there. And at Groton, Connecticut, where the Coast Guard Academy is, I believe, right beside Rhode Island, there's a good view. In a lot of places on I-95 there, you can look across Long Island Sound and see Long Island. It's kind of close to start with, and then you could actually, out I-95, you can actually see the end of Long Island as you keep driving out in Connecticut. But mosquito. But yet there's more. I was kind of surprised and disappointed. There's a lot more to see on I-95 in Connecticut as far as like lighthouses and the waterfront. Once I got past Brooklyn, I never saw the water again. And I delivered just a few miles from the beach, but it was cold winter day, and I didn't even bother walking out there. But anyway, if you like my trucker tales and you like all my variety content of all different kinds, hopefully I'm not boring you. But smash the like button, share, and subscribe. Thank you, and have a blessed day. Little Drummer Boy 1970. Peace out.